Delighted to be joined by the FAI Chief Executive, Jonathan Hill. We're here at the FAI headquarters after the announcement of the Facilities and Infrastructure Vision and Strategy report. Tell us a little bit about it, Jonathan.
Well, first of all, we're very excited because it's a really important day for Irish football. As you'll know, I hope you'll know from having read our original strategy document for the whole of the association from 22 through to the end of 2025, we had 6 core objectives, of which facility development was the number one, and actually it impacted all of the other 5 as well. So we've been working hard for the past 12 to 18 months to get to this point today, whereby we hope we've produced a well-researched and well-thought-through and provocative document that reflects what we believe are the needs of Irish football across our 3 core areas, which are grassroots, League of Ireland and our international teams, in terms of where we are now and where we'd like to get to. And the vision that we put in front of the media today and all of our key stakeholders is a really ambitious one. It's a proposal for investment of over 860 million euros, but over a 15-year period. But we're fully committed to it, and the process now is speaking to those key stakeholders to make it a reality. But this is just the start of the process. It will take some time for us to get to that point. We know that most projects, from even a grassroots project through to an international a League of Ireland stadium project, they're very complex and they all take time. So this part of the equation will need time and energy as well.
This would be life-changing for the game in Ireland. You know, it's all the way from grassroots to the international team to the League of Ireland. What would this mean for Irish football as a whole?
Well, I think that your question is a good one in relation to Irish football as a whole, and what we've tried to do, and it's reflective of our We Are One strategy, if you like, is to link those 3 core areas, grassroots, League of Ireland and international football, into one whole. But the proposal is a significant investment into grassroots, and in very simple terms, we want every girl and boy, we want every adult male and female footballer, and also our coaches, referees and volunteers, to either play the game or to do their work, if you like, in the best possible environment. And our research, particularly in relation to the grassroots, show that we're well off where we should be in relation to either other European federations or indeed other sports here within Ireland. So we've got a lot of work to do. We think we probably need around another 1,000 grass pitches. We want to improve our existing pitches, both grass and 4G. But in very simple terms, we want to make sure that every team and every one of those girls and boys has basic, fit-for-purpose facilities such as changing rooms and a clubhouse where they can get food and drink. It's very simple stuff, but we want to create that sense of community within grassroots and then do that within our League of Ireland infrastructure as well. We know that our League of Ireland clubs often sit at the heart of the various communities. We want to make then the stadia within League of Ireland clubs as welcoming as possible to families, to existing fans and to new fans. And that can only happen with real investment, because our stadia have been underinvested in for the past 20 years. Connected to that, and to make the clubs better than they currently are, or at least as good as they can be, we also have, as part of the plan, proposed investment into the academies and training grounds connected to the overall club infrastructure. And then at the top end, it's the international teams. We have 6 pitches here at the National Sports Campus, which is great, but we have no facilities connected to them at all. No facilities, not even those basic changing facilities. We have to hire those. And we want to create something which is reflective of what 90% of all national associations within UEFA currently have, which is a modern national football centre with all of the medical and sports science facilities that our elite players both deserve and now expect.
A lot of research has gone into this strategy, to this report, and you mentioned in the press conference as well that some of the facilities wouldn't even have toilet facilities. some of the girls' change rooms wouldn't be available, girls' toilets. I'm not surprised at that. Were you surprised at some of these findings?
If I'm really honest, no. That was my fear. But at least we now have the empirical data to do something about it. And look, the whole of the document is very clear and firm, particularly in relation to the rise and growth of football for women and girls. And it is a reality that unless we change those base facilities and increase those facilities and add to them, we won't be able to cope not just with the current demand from women and girls to play football, but the increasing demand that is inevitably going to come on the back of Vera and the team going to the Women's World Cup. So we've made it clear that no new request for funding for either a new build or a reworking of an existing facility can come without a plan and strategy for women and girls in particular. But we want to raise all of the standards across the board.
How confident are you that you will get the money from government?
Look, it's an ambitious plan. It's certainly not going to happen overnight. We think the timing is right. There's a real positive momentum, as I say, within grassroots, but also within the League of Ireland. You've seen increasing attendances yourself, and the quality of football at League of Ireland is increasing season by season, match by match almost. And we have a really positive trajectory in relation to our international teams. So we believe there's a lot of reasons there to invest into those three core areas, and we're confident of our plan. We do think it's well thought through. It's now my job as CEO and other people within the association to go and persuade others that plan is a good one, and will deliver the type of transformation that we think it can do. But we think that will be good for not just for Irish football, but for the whole of Irish sport, and most importantly for Irish society and the Irish economy.
And can you understand that there will be some misgivings or hesitation around getting the funding after, I suppose, what has happened to the previous FAI administrative plan when there was over 60 million in debt and you had to get a bailout? Can you understand that people will be looking at this and have hesitations around this plan?
Yeah, no, of course I understand that, and I understand what has happened in the past, but we're now nearly 4 years on from that point. And we've worked really hard with the government in relation to the Memorandum of Understanding that we agreed with them at the time in relation to, I think it's over 160 both governance and financial recommendations. And we are transformed as a business and as an organisation since 3 years ago. So I think the trajectory for us as a business is right, and I do think that our stakeholders, their trust in us has increased over that period, and we're working really hard that the trust in us as an association is there with our fans, with our players, and with our wider football community. Still lots to do, but we think we're going in the right direction.
Do you believe that the Irish state wants a thriving football industry?
Yes.
And just looking at the future of League of Ireland, you've mentioned that it will be a new future for them. What, in your eyes, what would that look like?
Well, I mean, there's both a sporting dynamic to this, and obviously having academy facilities and infrastructure and better playing facilities, for example, or the surface within the stadium themselves, will only be beneficial. But there's a very specific financial and commercial benefit from doing what we're suggesting, and revenues will flow not just from more people enjoying the experience, if you like, but also in relation to new sponsors, and in particular, we believe new media partners coming in to want to be part of the new League of Ireland story.
We've mentioned Vera Pauw and the women heading off to obviously Australia now for the World Cup. Have all preparations been done to support them in going?
I think it's fair to say that Vera has had every single thing that she'd wanted, and she's really happy with the preparation and really comfortable in the place she's at. Obviously, she's got 2 more preparation games before we fly out to Australia, and then she actually has another game, a practice game behind closed doors, if you like, once we get to Australia. So whilst it's hard in relation to the timing of the tournament, in relation to the wider women's football season, if you like, I think Vera will have the players in a very good place when we walk out in front of 83,500 people in Sydney in that first game in Australia.
Yeah, it's exciting times. And just as well, finally, it's been talk about being critical of other sports and the funding that they have received. What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, first of all, we as an association haven't criticised anyone in relation to the funding they've got, and actually I believe a number of sports and the two of the main field sports have done a brilliant job over the last 20 years in relation to funding, and we will learn a lot from them. I also think that certain sports who may have benefited from what I would describe as government stimulus rather than government subsidy have also benefited significantly, but in a positive way, in relation to receiving that investment. So for me, the ask that we're making now in relation to football is no different to the ask that horse racing may have made 20 years ago when it was in a difficult position and asked for help. And I think actually that's a fantastic precedent of a really successful industry, an export for Ireland, if you like, that I would hope the current government will want to emulate in relation to our ambitions for the sport of football moving forward.
And if this was to happen, if their funds were to come through, if the facilities were to be improved, how much of an inspiration would this be for the next generation?
Well, I think it'd be a huge inspiration, because we'll be showing that younger generation that we care about them, we want to give them the best possible facilities, we want to give them the best possible coaching and environments for them to enjoy the game. So, look, not everyone is going to be in a future Vera Power squad, as it were, in 20 years' time, but the 98% who just want to play football for fun will also benefit from better facilities to do that. And in the end, that's why we're here, to get as many people as possible playing what we believe is the best sport in the world in the best possible facilities.
Brilliant, Jonathan. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.